South Island Division. I'm the operations manager, and kind of just once a year we like to get everybody together, do a brief overview, kind of high level of our winter operations for the South Island, kind of go over our services and our contract specifications for winter maintenance with the province. So I have a brief presentation to go over. If everybody can maybe just hold their questions till the end, Craig will administer the conference and let everybody open up and ask any questions or provide any feedback. Additionally, we are recording this presentation and video conference, so we'll send out a copy to everybody via email. And also included in there, we'll have a feedback form. So if you don't feel like reaching out in front of everybody, you can certainly email any feedback, questions, and comments through that way as well. So I guess to kick it off, we do have a contracted meteorologist service. So they give us annually sort of a brief overview of what we're looking at in the winter season. And I'll just kind of go through some of the high points of that. So this year we're expecting La Nina. Oh, sorry, I don't know if it's mic on. Yeah, go. If you could just mute yourselves. Thank you. That seems to improve.
You're muted, Andrew.
You're muted, Andrew.
There, maybe that was the problem. Okay, sorry, I'll start again. This year we're having another La Nina oscillation, which is the third time in history that's ever been a triple La Nina. We had La Nina oscillation last year and the year prior to that as well. So with that brings a mild but active condition October and December, which I think we were kind of witness to earlier this week. And then precipitation, they're saying, should be remaining as rain outside of any sort of unusually cold systems. The second half of our winter, Arctic air is expected to push further south into the province. Systems are looking a little more frequent and tracking across Vancouver Island in the Lower Mainland region. Snow events for Lower Mainland and Vancouver Island, most likely from late January through early March. And there will be at least 1 or 2 winter storms bringing snow down to sea level. So we'd see that across the southern Vancouver Island area. In the latter half, closer towards April, Arctic air is going to be pushing up towards the Kootenays and Rockies and more in the north ranges of the province. So it's always a gamble looking at the crystal ball, but that's what our forecasters are kind of leading us to expect. So I will also include the sort of PDF document for the send out at the end of the presentation. You guys can all have a good read over that. And I will just jump right into this PowerPoint presentation. So if I go share. Okay. Sorry, just a moment while my computer warms up here. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that. Maybe Craig, can you just confirm that you can see that on there?
You're on there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so sort of just a brief overview of the agenda of the slides that I've got and what I'm going to speak to. As an introduction, for those who don't know who MCON Services is, we're a highway maintenance contractor, and we hold the contract for the South Vancouver Island area. We have yards across the South Island area as well as the Gulf Islands. We provide maintenance not just in winter but in summer. So we do pavement patching and mowing and rest area maintenance and those types of things inside of our contract. And the next slide here is just a brief overview of our area. So you can see our boundary extends as far north as the Crofton area and encompasses out west to Port Renfrew, as well as the 6 Gulf Islands, Salt Spring, Thetis, Galliano, Maine, Zaturna, Pender. And we have stars on the map there just showing the locations of where all of our yards are positioned. This next slide just kind of goes over what we call the winter ABCs. So it's a highway classification system that's been created by the province and is in our contract. Basically defines road priorities for each highway. So
Hey,
A
Andrew,
class.
I don't want to cut you off there, but we're not able to show the presentation yet.
Sorry, why is that?
Half the people can't see the presentation, so I'm trying to figure out how to get it spotlighted.
Oh,
People who can't see it need to change their view of the whole meeting to either large gallery or gallery mode.
Okay. And is that in the more actions part?
That's correct.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Oh, I think it's just a Teams thing. Okay, so you just click more actions, then gallery. Should help you guys out.
And then click on the presentation and it goes bigger.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
If anyone still can't see, let me know, but I think we're good.
I'll just back it up a slide so that everybody can have a look at our service area again. So just a brief, really high level overview of what our service area looks like, as well as our yard locations. And sorry, what I was explaining was the winter ABCs, so the highway classification system that the province has put into our contract. Basically, when we're looking at a Class A road, that's going to be something like the Trans-Canada Highway or Highway 18. Also, ferry routes and commuter routes like that are going to be high volume traffic, over 5,000 vehicles per day. When we get into the B class routes, that's where we're into more of a feeder. To name a few, we're looking at like Shawnigan Lake area has Shawnigan Mill Bay Road, I believe was a B class road, and any routes that are going to be having volumes of 1,000 per day. C class routes are designated for school buses and industrial truck routes. D class is the side roads and residential roads. E class roads, which we don't have very many of, but there are the irregularly maintained roads, and then F class are what the ministry classifies as unopened right of way. and we don't provide maintenance on those, which we don't have very many of at all. But the next specification, this is right out of our contract, is for patrol specifications. Basically, what I want to show is just how often we patrol our roads on a day-to-day basis, and then once we transition into winter, when we see a forecast that calls for winter weather or any adverse condition, then we increase our frequencies to these intervals so that it's monitored more frequently through the day, and we can respond quicker. The next specification here is the snow removal specification. So it shows our maximum allowable accumulations and what we're mandated to plow at. You can see that the specifications go by the highway classifications, which I explained in the prior slide. So A class, our main roads, are at a higher frequency than the B's, C's, and D's. Also included in there is a time interval for pull-offs and chain-up, chain-off areas, brake checks, things like that. And we, at the very bottom of the snow removal specification, there's also a bare pavement spec. So anytime we're in a temperature that's -9 or warmer, we're looking to achieve that by chemical applications and removing any sort of compact from the pavement. Then we have our anti-icing and de-icing specifications. So this is where our brine applications and solid salt applications. We are, again, following our patrol specification, deploying resources in advance of forecasted events, and pre-treating compact, and most of the focus there being on, for anti-icing, is the Class A and Class B highways. So that's where our brine trucks will be focused. This is just a quick kind of overview of one of our plow trucks. Some may not have know the ins and outs and what they look like and how they're configured. So on the passenger side of many of our trucks, we have what's known as a wing plow. That's that orange plow just alongside of the dump box. Also a underbody plow, which is the one sort of mid-board on the truck there. And that's mostly for scraping and peeling up any kind of leftover from where our front plow would be, mounted to that big sort of bracketry at the front of the hood there. And then sort of a side view, you can see that this unit has water tanks right underneath the dump body. That's for a pre-wet system. So when we apply salt and sand, that we actually wet that product down so that it stays on the road and doesn't get blown off with traffic passing by. There's the back of our trucks. There you'll notice they're all outfitted with the high conspicuity panels. That was something in this round of contracts, 2019, where the government had mandated a higher visibility standard. And another shot of that wing plow and sort of the side view of how that works. So the wing plow fully extends out and actually plows an extra half a lane, helping us push the snow further outside of the fog lines on the travel lanes. And this is just a quick shot of inside of the cab. So you see the joystick, that's where all of the hydraulic functions are controlled, as well as those buttons just beside the joystick. So we go for different settings on salt and sand and plow functions. Winter staffing. So all of our shift patterns across the yards are staggered so that we can provide a 24-hour coverage. Focus on shift changes is around peak commuter hours so that we make sure we have fresh staff on for the rush hours in the morning and afternoon. Winter shift has already started, and then we will be continuing that until the spring. In the springtime, we'll sort of evaluate the weather patterns and trends and make the call of when to switch back over to a summer shift, which would be more focused on a day pattern than a night shift and consistent pattern for 24-hour coverage. Scheduled shifts, so 7 days a week, we'll always have crew available and out on the road patrolling when weather events are forecasted. So a little more on anti-icing and de-icing. We use rock salt and salt brine primarily on the coast here. We do have the option to use calcium. We keep calcium chloride in stock in case we see an extreme cold pattern trending. So solid road salts. We use a lot of the pre-wet systems. All of our trucks, primary trucks, are outfitted with the pre-wet system. As I was explaining before, it helps product not only stay on the road, but actually activates the salt quicker, so it helps melt the ice off of the road surface a bit quicker. Liquid salt brine and calcium. We apply any of our brine products pre-storm, so you'll see our brine trucks usually out on days like yesterday following a snowstorm, making sure that any moisture is not going to form ice, and sort of days like today so that it will dry to the surface of the road and prevent any kind of ice formation. And then just an enhanced use of liquids. We do use a lot in the South Island area as we have high humidity and potential for black ice formation throughout the winter season. So this is a quick look at one of our chemical storage facilities. So all of our facilities are constructed to the environmental construction standards, ensuring that any of our salt product isn't leaching into the surrounding environment. We use a digital refractometer to verify that our salt brine is consistent at 23.3%. That's the optimal concentration for salt brine. Anything more or anything less creates a lesser product. So, and then just a quick look at how calcium chloride can help us in those extreme weather trends. So salt brine being effective from 0 degrees to -6. Calcium salt brine mixed, usually at about a 25% calcium to 75% salt brine mix. It's good for a -6 to -12, and then the straight calcium is a -12 to -20. Is where it's really effective. Winter abrasive. So when we talk winter abrasive, that's winter sand. Typically, we're using this on steep hills and corners and intersections where traction is really needed. We have all of our units are equipped with speed sensors. So depending on the rate of speed, we'll increase or decrease the application rates. And then the snippet here is actually out of our contract and sort of shows what the particle size is. So this round of contracts in 2019, we've gone to a type A, which is a 9.5 millimeter sand overall to help reduce damages to windshields and claims that way. So I think it's been somewhat successful on the South Island. Lynxfield. Lynxfield is our GPS tracking system. It's installed in all of our winter units. Gives our foremen real-time information to make operational decisions from. You can see a station set up where our foreman's actually looking at the real-time map. It gives us our weather radar, as well as we can pull dash cam footage into our portal, and lots of other really cool features. There's actually a screenshot here that shows, I believe that's the Duncan area, where they've got all of the red lines and the green lines. The green lines are signifying where solid material has been placed, and then the red lines showing where the plowing has occurred. So it's a really helpful tool, and we're just working hard with the company on improving it to make it sort of better and better all the time. This is a quick snapshot of one of our high conspicuity panels. I'll actually just press that so you can see what it looks like if you haven't seen them out on the road. Lots of bright flashing lights, so our trucks are visible out there. Motor vehicle incidents. So this is our spec for incident response. Our number one goal in motor vehicle incident response is to establish safe traffic flow. So we work hand in hand with our CMP, the fire departments, to provide traffic control or cleanup or whatever sort of they need to get the highway open and safe as quickly as possible. The Malahat chain-up protocol. So this is something that we've been working hand in hand with the Ministry of Transportation and the Commercial Vehicle Services to establish. There's a written protocol that the ministry has given us when we look at forecasts of 5 to 10 centimeters, then we start kind of gearing up and getting resources ready. Ministry of Transportation at the end of the day gives us the phone call and lets us know when to set that up. We've been doing this since 2019 and has been successful in making sure that vehicles are equipped to get over the Malahat and not getting themselves in trouble in the middle of the hill, so that we're able to effectively plow it. So this winter, you could probably see them in some heavy snowfalls set up at West Shore Parkway for the northbound traffic, and then on the other side at Bamberton Hill for the southbound traffic. And that is basically my short presentation. On this slide, you can see we have our general office number, the 778-698-3582, as well as our 24-hour dispatch line, 1-866-353-3136. And then we also have a couple of tags for our social media pages. Craig and myself, we run the MCON South Vancouver Island Twitter page, and then the Facebook page is more of a corporate overview of all of our contract areas. But we try and keep our Twitter page up to date and current with conditions through the winter. So definitely give us a follow.
If anyone has questions, press the little reaction thing at the top there and press the hand up, and then I can unmute you. Or if you'd like, you could also ask a question in the chat. Art.
Yeah, Art Winans here, Willis Point Fire Department. Just a quick question about traffic control services for different incidents, whether it's a motor vehicle incident or BC Hydro lines down. Do you provide those traffic control services? And if so, under what conditions?
Yeah, that's a great question. so we do provide in circumstances traffic control, as I said, for any kind of incident response. I guess I should have been more clear about motor vehicle. It's more just incident response in general. You can definitely reach out to our dispatch line, and we can provide traffic control or work with you. A lot of the times when it comes to BC Hydro issues, they bring their own flaggers along with them. So we'll end up showing up with our flaggers, and then BC Hydro tells us, you know, we're here, we can take care of it. So the more communication around the actual incident, the better. When you call our dispatch line for any kind of emergency, please give us your contact information in as much detail as possible, and one of our supervisors may reach out to you and even talk further about what your needs are. Yeah.
Okay, just a quick follow-up question. When you refer to dispatch line, is that the emergency number that you've listed on your presentation?
Yeah, that's our 1866 number. And that's 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can get through to somebody on our dispatch line. And what happens is your phone call gets taken, they record the message. They will either dispatch immediately, like depending on what the call is about. If it's an emergency circumstance like you're describing, they will patch through to our crews who are on patrol through their radio system. And also a log of your call will be sent out to every supervisor across the area. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ben has a question here in the chat. It says, what does your winter ops look like at interchanges with municipal roads?
Yeah, so when we cross over municipal boundaries, it does create a bit of confusion. Typically, our services carry right until the boundary, which is just past, say, a traffic island, or there's a designated sort of line in the sand, so to speak. But it's usually like an on or off ramp. We carry it all the way through until the connecting municipal road. I hope that answers your question.
And Selena has a question asking, do we have any staffing or labor shortages? What concerns for coverage this winter?
Actually, I think we had a pretty successful late summer and fall. Staffing has been an issue, I know, in the industry as a whole across the province, but we were able to pick up some quality hires and been kind of going through all of the training and things that they need to know and how to operate our equipment this fall. So overall, I think we're looking pretty good across the service area. Yeah, I'm fairly confident with our staffing numbers.
Question from John. Can you please outline the procedure for posting updates to Drive BC?
Yeah, so for Drive BC, what typically happens is for an incident, one of our supervisors will attend if it's a major highway closure or lane closure, depending on the circumstances, and they will collect the information on what we're looking at, coordinate with emergency services on estimated times of opening or what the incident's going to require, and then our supervisor will directly call into our dispatch line and update Drive BC that way.
For anyone that joined late, if you have any questions now, you could voice them in the chat, or you can press the reaction button with the little hands up. Here we go. West Shore traffic. Trying to unmute them here. Can you unmute yourself, maybe? WS traffic.
Mike, we can't hear you. There you go. Now we can hear you,
Oh.
Mike.
Perfect.
There we go. Yeah, Mike Jacobson from West Shore Traffic. So just in your presentation there, you mentioned about, at a serious incident, you want to treat the roads so that it's safe for the public coming or, approaching it. And we definitely agree with that. But just try to remember, if it's a serious injury or fatal crash, we're probably going to be calling in the collision reconstructionist. And we need to protect the scene. So the scene isn't just where the vehicles come to final rest, but it'll be back in both directions, a fair way. We'll be looking for tire marks, skid marks, signs where people have gone off the road into the shoulder and back on, that kind of thing. So, maybe speak to the officers on the scene and, we want everybody to be safe, but we want to protect that evidence as well.
Yeah, it's a great comment. I mean, that's always sort of our number one goal is to open the highway, but at the same time, it's to assist emergency services. You guys are the incident commander, so to speak. So you guys are have to protect your priorities, and we're there to assist. So
perfect. Thanks.
We have a question from Jamie Holmes. Flaggers are always an issue on Salt Spring Island and the other islands. Any chance of boosting the amount of barricades on the Gulf Islands?
Yeah, that's certainly something we can look at. I'll have to reach out to my foreman and see where their numbers are at. I know we have purchased quite a few since our November of last year, where we had so many sites we kind of ran short. So that was something we definitely have improved on, but certainly could look at our numbers and if we've got adequate.
Anyone else have any questions? John Wakefield, are electronic signboards available on the Gulf Islands?
We typically keep our electronic signboards on Vancouver Island. However, if there was a circumstance where it was a necessity, then we could mobilize them out to a Gulf Island. Typically, we're setting those up for something long-term, so that would kind of have to be a decision made when we were triaging whatever was happening, either for a construction project or if it was an incident or a road washout that was going to extend for, multi-day or week.
Anyone? Last chance for questions? Just in the chat or the reactions, and press the little hands up sign if you have a question. If not, I think we're good. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everybody for signing in. It was a good turnout. Couple of great questions. Like I said, we'll follow up, send out a link to the copy of this presentation, the recording, and also feel free to reach out and provide any feedback, comments, questions. Happy to always answer.
And we will distribute a contact sheet again, updated for this year.
Oh, thanks, Craig.
Thank you, everyone. And everybody have a good day. Okay.